Welcome, friends, to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. This is where we look again. We take a fresh look at ourselves and the world around us. And the world around us is our families. If you listened to the gospel message last weekend, you would have heard the gospel reading from Luke where it talks about a father will be divided against his son, a son against his father, a mother against her daughter, and a daughter against her mother, and it goes on and on. What does that mean? Are we living that reality? That's what we're going to talk about today. We titled the show, A Family Divided. We wanted to say that right up front because we're already getting a lot of social media activity that is really playing a factor here where so many of you are sharing your life experiences. So we wanted to make sure we got that out quickly so you can dial in so you don't miss out on this show. 1-800-585-9396. I'm Debbie Georgiani along with Jerry Usher. And Jerry, I know you. I've been with your family. It's a fun family. You're very cohesive, very, you got a lot of fun and joyous times and a lot of humor in your family. A little bit different than mine, but I don't know how you're going to weigh in on this topic because it seems like your family's pretty cool.
You haven't met all of them.
How many are there?
Well, we have 5 siblings, but it's really interesting, Debbie. I do have to say that all 5 of us are very, very close. Not all of us are practicing the faith, and there are definitely ideological differences between us when it comes to politics or even certain moral issues. And so it really is an interesting question that we're addressing today. In an ideal world, I guess a family would just have harmony and peace and be united, of course, in the faith first and foremost, and get along and have a common vision for where they all want to go individually and help each other get to and all of this stuff. But Debbie, the truth is, as you read that scripture from Luke, it just doesn't happen that way all the time.
It doesn't. It's all too common these days, Jerry. We hear of families not speaking to immediate family members for many, many years, extended family members. And unfortunately, I'm here to say, folks, that I live that on a daily basis. Unfortunately, our family is not united, and either is my immediate family or my extended family. And, we can kind of shrug that off and say, hey, we're a big 100% Italian family, and that happens. Those of you who were raised in an all-Italian family, you know that we fight hard, we play hard, we laugh hard, we love hard, and we just really do things to the extremes sometimes. And in my family, there's a lot of broken bonds, a lot of severed emotional ties. It's very painful. But it's unfortunate. It's a thing we live with, a reality we live with. And if you have rifts in your family, if your family is divided, if it's broken, if there are things that you have done to mend or heal, or maybe there are coping skills that you can impart to the rest of us, we want to walk away this very brief hour with a better understanding of ourselves and our families and how we are to respond as Catholic Christians. That's what Take Two is all about. So don't hesitate. Call in if you have something to say. You won't miss any part of the show. You're going to be placed on hold and you can listen to the show so you can jump in on the discussion just like if you were sitting in our living room or if we're in a coffee shop. That's exactly how the conversation flows. 1-800-585-9396.
Some of the things we hear at times, Debbie, really actually, like I said, because of the fact that my family, we're all close. We can all come together at holidays and other times of the year, and there aren't any things that cause us to stay in one part of the house while the other, so-and-so's over there, and I'm just not going to go. And we don't have any of that. We can all get together and talk and get along, basically on a very friendly level, and I thank God for that. But some of the things I hear, and Debbie, some of the things people have shared on our show in the past really surprise me. And maybe I shouldn't be surprised given human nature, but some of the things that are done within families, it just really, it saddens me really to hear. And so, like you said so well, Debbie, and those of you listening, we don't want to really dredge up dirt and throw it out there for the world to see, but we want to know when this happens. How do you deal with it? Maybe you've had a long time split with a sibling or a family member, and both of you came to your senses and said, no, let's not do this. Let's come back together because we should be in unity and harmony. Let us hear from you at 1-800-585-9396.
Sometimes it takes a real sense of humility, putting the pride aside, the ego aside, to really not hold on to grudges and resentments, and to really look for that greater understanding, that greater good, for the sense of unity, Jerry. And it takes two people, just like it takes two people in a marriage. It takes two people in a relationship to want to partake in that. If one wants to really mend and heal and the other wants nothing to do with that person, there's not much you can do other than prayer. There really isn't, Jerry. And I know this because I'm living it. And it's a painful, emotionally painful situation. I live with extreme emotional pain. I would say if you wanted me to rate the pain like you do in the hospital rooms where they say, tell me the pain you've got between 1 and 10, 10 being the worst, I would say mine's like an emotional of an 11 or 12. It's pretty painful. And you live with it every day. But how, it can't stop your spiritual growth. It can't stop your movement forward, because when everybody's got free will, everybody's got a choice to make. And we all have these realities we deal with within our families and within our communities. So let's talk about it. 1-800-585-9396. But like you said, Jerry, there's causes to celebrate, because we do have family members we do value and love, like who you're going to introduce in a little bit, which I'm excited.
Well, yeah, we have added a number of people to the Take Two with Jerry and Debbie family, a number of affiliates, I should say. And one of the networks, the larger groups of stations, is Guadalupe Radio Network. We mentioned that the first couple of days this week. I'm not sure exactly how many affiliates they have that we are now on as of Monday, but we can get that information from Toya Hall, who is Vice President of Guadalupe Radio Network, and she's on the air with us for a couple of minutes here. Toya, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. It is such a blessing for you to be on with us. How are you?
Well, it is even more blessing to have y'all on the Guadalupe Radio Network. I think that the two of you in Take Two has been a fantastic show, and I'm just thrilled that we now have it live across the Guadalupe Radio Network.
Oh, Toya, thank you so much for all your hard work and what you're doing to make Catholic radio possible for so many millions of people. Toya, I wanted to tell you that you're one family member we absolutely love, and we're talking about. Unfortunately, we're talking about a sad subject of families divided, but this is a joyous occasion where the Guadalupe Radio Network is part of the Take Two family, and that's exciting because we can talk about things and we can grow together in our faith.
Well, I think it's just an incredible move of the Holy Spirit and all the good people at EWTN and Ave Maria Radio that work together to make it all happen. As you were saying earlier, Debbie, sometimes we don't all, get on the same page, but when you're praying and you're working for the good of God and the kingdom, then things usually will work out. And so we are so thankful that it did, and we want to welcome you to the Guadalupe Radio Network. We usually play y'all on a Saturday morning on a repeat, and the subjects are just incredible. So y'all are doing a great job.
Well, thank you, Toya. And I mentioned the Guadalupe Radio Network is one of the largest groups of stations in the country. I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you to list all of your affiliates, but just generally speaking, approximately how many did this add for our program going on Guadalupe Radio Network?
You are on 28, I believe, of our 33 stations.
Wow.
We have 4 Spanish stations, and I think we still have a couple of stations to build out. And I'm sure Lynn Oswald, who's our president, is listening, and he's correcting me as he's driving right now. I can tell you that.
Hi, Len. Len's a great guy.
Yes, he is.
Toya, I wanted to tell you this. In fact, if I saw you at the radio conference this year, I wanted to tell you this. I've been meaning to share this with you. I love your tagline at the network, Catholic Radio for Your Soul. I love that. Thank you for doing that. Whoever thought of that, that was awesome.
I think it was the wonderful people with Queen of Peace Radio out of Florida. They came up with that, and we asked if we could also use it, because I totally agree. It is Radio for Your Soul, because it's where we are concerned about where each and every listener spends eternity.
Well, Toya, I know that you all have seen and you've heard the stories of the lives changed and souls very potentially saved through your efforts. I know you don't want any credit. You said it's God, it's EWTN, Mother Angelica, but we just are blessed to be partnering with you now on a more full-time basis every day on your network. So please, and we have so many people that we know and love at Guadalupe Radio Network. Debbie and I don't dare start naming names because we'll omit people. But thank you for putting our show on the air, and thanks for all the great work that you are doing. And we hope that we get a chance, as Debbie said, to see you at the radio conference.
Well, I look forward to it, and I want to invite the Guadalupe Radio listeners to call in and participate in the show. Guadalupe callers are known to call in often, so I want to hear from you today.
Well, Toya, thank you so much for joining us. We know you're super busy, and you'll be really proud because there's several lines lighting up, and 2 of them so far are from Guadalupe Radio Network. So here we go.
Praise God. Well, y'all have a great show. I'm praying for you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Toya. Oh, I love her. She is awesome. Okay, listeners, take 2. This is it. We're talking about a family divided. This is a tough subject, but we need to hear from you. Speak from your heart on this. We'll be right back.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
The thing that bothers me the most is we don't understand the awesomeness of living even one more day. I told my sister the other day, when I get really bad, give me all the medicine I can take, all the tubes you can stuff down me. So, oh, why you want that? I want to live. Why? Because I will have suffered one more day for the love of God. I will know Him better. I will exercise you in virtue. But most of all, I will know God better. You cannot measure the value of one new thought about God in your own life.
Welcome to EWTN's Catholic Almanac.
Today is August 17th. St. Jean of the Cross died on this day in 1736. She was a rich, successful businesswoman but closed her shop after a vision from heaven. She opened orphanages and hospices across France, founding a religious order with her followers. Also on this day in 2002, Pope John Paul II consecrated the Shrine of Divine Mercy in Poland. In his homily, he stated, "Apart from the mercy of God, there is no other source of hope for mankind."
Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie, and we are on a number of new stations. We're going to be mentioning some more of them throughout the day today and in the next couple of days. We just thank all of our affiliates, including and especially those of you who have been carrying our broadcast from day one, a little over a year ago. Thank you so much. Today we are talking about family rifts and things that can come up within families that are unfortunate, but because of human nature, they happen. Our goal is to try to manage them, to offer forgiveness, to offer mercy, certainly in this year of mercy. We need to set boundaries at times if we have to, but most of all, pray for reconciliation. And we're going to get your takes right now. So thanks for your patience. Ann, you are first listening to Guadalupe Radio Network, EWTN Radio in Houston. Hello, Ann. Welcome to Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
This is a great topic today and subject because I think so many people's lives every day are just such a heavy burden because of not having family relationships. Just this past month, I decided to pick up the phone and call a family member that I hadn't spoken to in 10 years. And I know I put a lot of that down to working on my own defects and through the power of the Holy Spirit and my faith, just asking for God's discernment. And really, the person that I called was my sister, and she had been praying that this day would happen. And so some of the family members were not happy that I did that because it was breaking the ice, so to speak. Just so much resentment. It's just such a heavy burden for people to carry every day, and they don't know and they don't realize what they're carrying, but it's just an unnecessary weight. And when you can forgive and let go of the hurt over time. It's amazing how God works in our path.
Well, Anne, first of all, we need to rejoice in that you and your sister are united, and how beautiful. If I heard it correctly, because I had a little bit of a disconnect in hearing you, it not on my end. So please forgive me. I believe you said your sister was praying for this day when you had stepped forth and initiated or put out that olive branch, if you will, and reconnected. Am I correct on that? Anne?
She was elated, and she was so emotional that she was hardly able to speak to me.
Okay. Right. So she was praying for it. Okay, Anne, this is perfect. And this is so important for all of us, I think, to listen up and take note of. You made the effort. You set aside whatever differences you had, whatever grievances you had. You put aside your own wants and needs for that moment and reached out. You were Christ. She was being Christ in her prayers. So the two of you come together. I'm getting chills on this because that's how beautiful the Holy Spirit, that's how wonderfully the Holy Spirit works. And it does take two. We may think that another person may not receive us, and maybe they're on their knees every night praying that they'll get that call. And you did it. And that is beautiful. Now, one thing I just wanted to share, because I have been on that I've been in that same situation where other family members didn't know how to react to this and were very upset. It takes time. Everybody's got to kind of heal and let go of their differences and let things kind of manifest and heal. I think sometimes we expect things to happen overnight so that we just can wipe the slate clean, forget about everything. A lot of people need a time to really just digest it and let it evolve. So God bless you for that. I think that is so beautiful that you and your sister have rekindled that beautiful relationship, Anne.
It is, but what's more important about all of this was it wasn't about what it was doing for me. It was also laying the path for my children to let them see that their mother is not going to stay stuck in anger and resentment and bitterness for the rest of my life just because something went wrong and I had no control over it. But it's like demonstrating what it is to have forgiveness and to let go. It's a letting go of unnecessary burdens in your own head every day that you're not in control of anymore. And a lot of people are just so stuck and stubborn that I believe that a lot of it's down to as well is working a program, having a program, just not even, having a 12-step program, having some program in your church, in your community where you have support, where everybody else has that same common bond. And where they're struggling with that too. And I've shared this with some people in recovery, and they're like, how did you do that? Well, when you're looking at your own defects and you're looking at your own shortcomings and you're praying about them, God is the one, and He is the only one, if you truly want to remove those defects. He'll open the door to a better life for everybody, because when you're carrying that anger every day, it just blows off on everybody else, and it's just not worth it. And we got to meet her children as well. We got to meet a grandbaby that we never saw.
Oh,
my daughter got to meet her cousins that she hadn't seen for 10 years. A lot of great, wonderful, beautiful things came out of it. And I don't have a relationship with my twin brother today. I wish I had picked up the phone to him, but I understand that when there's a risk to my health, then God might, give me the courage to say, hey, you might hold off on that one. And, that is the gift that God has truly given me, the gift of, knowing what's right, the right thing to do, the next thing to do. And it's that discernment that is so powerful that when you pray for it, you get it.
Yeah, and you've shared so many beautiful things. I just want to get back to the lesson that your kids have learned through this again. This is going to serve them well, excuse me, as they become adults and maybe will even help to prevent similar things from happening among them as they grow into adulthood. And also, they're going to experience this kind of thing with their peers, with their friends in school and stuff as they're growing up, and they could be true leaders and mentors to so many other people. So thank you, Ann, for making that step that you did, and we're going to pray for reconciliation with your twin brother and even a deeper reunion with your sister and all of the extended family. So, Ann, thank you so much for sharing all of that on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
God bless you, Ann. Thanks for calling in from Guadalupe Radio Network. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thanks for inspiring us today. Okay, Andrea in Boston, Massachusetts, listening to EWTN Radio on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Andrea. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Please feel free to interject because I don't want to get lengthy in the stories and all that type of stuff. But I had a very, very recent event. I care for my grandmother, and we all kind of have our hands in the pot with our, taking care of different needs, so we all have, like, some respite. And my sister takes care of my grandmother's money, and I saw some trouble, and I started looking, and I found, about $18,000 worth of missing money, and I confronted my sister I'm actually proud of myself in a very Christian way, but the thing has snowballed into craziness, and she was very humble with me, but then moving forward, she has started lying, and she, at this point, turned the tables and is, trying to turn my family against me, and it's actually kind of working, and at this point, I just want to be done with the situation and walk away for a season, or not forever, but my sister is very, very toxic and has been my whole life, and as I became Christian and Catholic, I've always just tried to love her, and I was actually really happy about the situation because I'm like, God's going to use this. I know it. I know He's going to use it. I'm not going to see it today, but I know He's going to make good come from this. I haven't seen the good, but I know it's going to happen. But in the meantime, I'm just not sure if I should have or try to continue having a relationship with her, as she has befriended me on Facebook and is telling my family all these lies about me and saying that all this stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do, but I am tempted, and I don't know if it's temptation or not. I am tempted to just not talk to her.
Well, Andrea, yeah, that might be the best course of action in terms of just your relationship with her at this point, because you mentioned, and if in fact that she did this,
yes,
you well then you obviously are aware of it. You confronted her, and now she is very, very bothered by this. Obviously, who wouldn't be? Her conscience, and so her actions are showing that she's. Intellectually, in her mind, in her heart, in her conscience, she's bothered by this. So now she has gone on kind of the offensive to make you out to be the bad person in this situation. So it may be best for you to allow a little bit of space there, certainly keep the prayers going and so forth. But Debbie, I also think what comes to mind, I'll let you comment on this, is there have been a lot of saints who have been had this happen to them, and they just bore it silently without saying anything. Others, my thinking on this is Andrea ought to try to just very gently set the record straight with her other family members and say what she's saying is not true, and basically then just leave it at that and not create a huge issue out of it.
Right. You're not going to be able to. First of all, Andrea, is it Andrea or Andrea?
Either one. I don't
mind.
Okay,
I just wanted to make sure. Andrea, we have to go to a hard break in just a minute, but I wanted just to share something with you. Jerry and I are not trained counselors, but unfortunately, I have actually lived through your experience, so I know it firsthand. And I also was in the insurance industry for over 20 years, and I've seen more families divided over insurance policies and money. You know the old saying, money is the root of all evil? Well, whenever money's involved, you're going to have a lot of people draw lines in the sand and take sides and get defensive and go on the offense, and it's exactly based on your story what your sister is doing. If it were me, this is me talking to you sister to sister, I would really try hard not to let that toxicity into your life, because it will destroy your spiritual growth. It doesn't help. It can't help. But Andrea, stay on. I've got one more comment because I don't want to let you go with half of a comment here. We'll be right back.
It's the start of a new day for Morning Catholic Radio.
Be wise about who you are, understanding your weaknesses, and avoid those people, those places, and those occasions of sin. That's one of the things that we say in our act of contrition. Realize you are weak even if you haven't done that sin for a while.
In the recovery community, we put it this way: you have to find new playmates and a new playground.
Amen.
Morning Glory, Catholic from the start. Weekday mornings, 7 Eastern on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
You have a voice in your head. How did he know that, the voice just said? Because we all do. And the words you speak to yourself matter a lot. Our words shape our self-perception. Our self-perception shapes our actions. Our actions shape our lives. Words are at the foundation of our whole lives. What words do you speak to yourself? The book of Revelations calls the devil the accuser of our brothers. He wants us to amplify the negative words in our heads. God reveals the truth about who we are. But he didn't do that so you wait for me to preach it to you. Preach it to yourself. When the voice within starts saying, I'm weak, used, washed up, not pretty enough, skinny enough, smart enough, I'll never be enough, replace that with words like, I'm blessed, I'm chosen, I'm beautiful, I am a son or daughter of the King of Heaven. I don't mean that figuratively, I mean it literally. Look in the mirror and preach the truth to yourself. This is Chris Stefanik from reallifecatholic.com on EWTN Radio.
If you're currently an EWTN media missionary or just interested in becoming one, we've got some great news. EWTN Media Missionaries has a new and improved website. EWTNmissionaries.com, designed with you in mind. Our new site is loaded with great features and it's easy to navigate. There are so many different ways that you can help EWTN. Join us in sharing the eternal word with the world. Visit EWTNmissionaries.com today.
Thanks for staying with us on Take Two. We're talking about family rifts, families divided, and Andrea was talking about her personal situation with her sister and her grandmother's money that was, as she put it, taken by her sister, and it's caused a severe break in the sibling relationship. Before the break, Andrea, I just wanted to say, and Jerry and I are laughing on the break because when my blood pressure goes up, my New Jersey kind of slang comes out. So please forgive me. When I was referring to toxic relationships with your sister, if it were me, I would stay away from that element because it can cause you possibly to sin. It can stifle your spiritual growth. And it doesn't do much for the relationship as a whole when all these negative feelings keep arising. So I agree with Jerry. You stood up for your grandmother, you stood up for your family, you spoke the truth. Now she's going on the attack, it sounds like, and by you contributing to that, it's only going to make matters worse. I agree with Jerry. Simply state the truth. And let it be, and pray for your sister that her conscience doesn't hurt her so much that it stops her from her spiritual growth. Does that speak to your heart? I mean, you got to protect. Yeah, you got to protect your spiritual growth. I have to say that strongly because a lot of people will enter into these really harmful situations, emotional situations with relationships, and they don't realize that the impact is their soul. And
And I am the only practicing Catholic or Christian in my family, and so I feel such a heavy weight to be perfect in this because I'm a walking billboard to them, and I want to be very careful how I proceed and how I'm perceived, but at this point there's an element of I can't control. That's what God is using the situation to teach me is how much I guess I need control. I didn't realize how much I care what people think about me, and he's blessing me to see my own stuff in this, what I need to work on, and let him work on with me. So that's been special. But other than that, I just want to be so careful because I want to represent Jesus to them, and I just fear making a mistake is going to be grave because she's already using the religion. You're self-righteous. You're the preacher. Okay, stop preaching to me. And I'm just like, I'm not preaching. The facts. It's tough.
Right.
It's really tough.
Well, Andrea, you're the only. You said you're the only Catholic in the family, so you will be the only Christ that they will see. But remember, Jesus wasn't a pushover. Jesus had boundaries, and he spoke the truth when he needed to. And so I think the key thing here is preach with your life. Say a few words here and there as you feel it necessary, perhaps to defend your reputation and so forth. But just preach with your life and offer constant prayers for her. And God wants the situation healed way more than you possibly could. And I'm sure deep down in your sister's heart, I'm sure wishes it hadn't come to this either, and would see that repaired as well. So, Andrea, I hope that helps you out a little bit. Will you keep listening and call us again?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thanks, Andrea.
Thanks,
God
Andrea.
bless.
Bye-bye.
We'll be praying for you and your family. Please know that. Okay, Suzanne, you're listening to EWTN Radio in Big Spring, Texas. I love that, on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Suzanne. Welcome to Take Two.
Good morning. I'm so excited to get to be on your program. I've been listening to you on the EWTN app until Guadalupe Radio came on. And Toya Hall, I'm so blessed to say, is friend.
Oh, beautiful.
So I had no idea that she was going to be on there this morning. I was attracted to the subject that you spoke about at the beginning of the program. And briefly, my husband and I became Catholic 6 years ago. We came into full communion in the church. We had been very active Lutherans. I was baptized when I was less than a month old, and my husband became Lutheran after we got married. And we raised our two children. They're both adults now. I have two sisters that are church organists, and it's been really awkward. It's been really hard because, like so many converts, I was so excited at first about what I was learning and that I had come to know the truth. And like Jesus says, the truth will set you free, so you want to free everybody else that you know. But it was very confusing for our family. And so we all speak to each other. We were together a few weeks ago, and but it's very polite, and it's like I know my boundaries and they know theirs. And one of my sisters has been more open than the other, so I've been able to, talk to her from time to time and explain that the Pope is not the enemy and not the Antichrist, and that he's not in place of Jesus. He's here as his ambassador on earth, just like when I leave town, I let somebody take care of my pets in my house for me. So anyway, I know that there are other people that are in this same situation, and this is another reason I love Catholic radio, is that from the confines of my home or in my car, I feel so connected to so many beautiful saints on earth. We're here struggling. We're trying to do right, just like that previous caller. Boy, she was speaking my heart, because I feel like the pressure's on me to represent Christ in a way that is lovely and beautiful and truthful to everybody in my family that I would like to influence, and to not let me get in the way.
Wow. Well, Suzanne, first of all, thanks for listening, and glad to hear that you're a friend of Toya there. And you're taking a really beautiful approach here as well. Again, we get back to that being Christ to other people, and that is so important, the way that we just live by our example. So often words are not really the things that are going to accomplish things, especially if you've got people who look at, say, the Catholic faith as being wrong or untrue, or even worse, the Pope being the Antichrist, the Church, the whore of Babylon, the on and on the anti-Catholic comments go. But you have been gifted, Suzanne. You've been gifted with something priceless here, which I'm sure you know. It's the pearl of great price, and you have, in essence, quote unquote, sold things. Jesus, the Bible talks about go and sell all that you have and get the pearl of great price. You have done that. And part of what you have perhaps sacrificed is, at least temporarily, harmonious relationships with some of your family. But again, your being obedient to where God was calling you is unquestionably going to win graces and blessings for them. So I'm sure you probably looked at it that way.
And also last hour on Johnette Benkovic's program, if anybody didn't hear her guest, and I'm sorry I can't remember her name, but her website was Remember You Are Loved, and with a D on the end, loved. And one of the things that she said to a caller who was separated from family members was to pray, in my own prayer, for me to pray to see in others what God loves in them. And that was powerful. And again, had I not been listening to Catholic radio, my husband and I had been so blessed with EWTN and Mother Angelica's teachings as we were coming into the church, as we were exploring, what it means to be Catholic after a lifetime of believing the Catholic Church was wrong on everything and really not knowing what the Catholic Church taught. But EWTN and Guadalupe Radio and Immaculate Heart Radio, so many Sacred Heart, I hear people call in from all of those different outlets, and they are a beautiful gift. It's even with what we've kind of given up, like you say, it doesn't feel like it because of what we have gained. And God has given us some new, beautiful friends that have been walking in the Catholic Church throughout their life that have been so accepting of us. That was one of the big shockers, was how strangers would say to us, "Welcome home." We were never prepared for that, and it's been a beautiful 6 years, and we're even more grateful now than we were when we entered the church.
Well, it's interesting you said that, Suzanne, because that's exactly what I was going to say to you. Welcome home to you and your husband. Welcome to the family, and it's wonderful. If you heard at the beginning of the show with Toya, I was sharing with her how much I love your tagline at Guadalupe Radio Network, Catholic Radio for Your Soul. You're so completely right on about that it impacts the soul. And we spend so much time, I do a teaching on this, Suzanne, we spend so much time taking care of our work, our families, even our health and our bodies and our relationships. But what about our soul? How much time do we take for our soul? And that's why Catholic Radio, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That now you know, Suzanne, you're into our hearts. That's why Jerry and I will do pretty much anything to raise funds for Catholic Radio to keep it going strong into the future. So thanks, Suzanne, for your wonderful comments, your amazing life journey, and we pray that you continue to pray for this show to reach more and more people so that their souls and hearts can be equally on fire for the Lord as you and your husband are, Suzanne. So if you do that, we'll certainly pray for you as well. So please make sure that we continue the prayers. We believe in the power of prayer. I'm going to talk about how people can add to the prayer wall, Jerry. Don't let me forget. See, I'm getting older, Jerry, and if it goes in the brain, it goes right out real quickly. Okay, there's an open phone line. Suzanne had a wonderful comments to share with all of us, and so now it's your turn. 1-800-585-9396. Don't hesitate. Jump in on this great conversation. We're talking about families divided. I thought it was going to be a sad conversation about families divided and rifts. I thought I was going to actually start tearing up thinking about my own situation, Jerry, but actually it's turning out to be a very hopeful and enlightening conversation.
Yeah, thanks be to God. A lot of inspiration being shared. And if you have a situation in your family, siblings, divided parent-child, extended family where there's a rift of some kind and just want to share maybe a message of hope for the rest of our listeners like so many others have, 1-800-585-9396. All right, I think the all-time Virtual Patience Award goes to Lou May, listening to the EWTN app in Debbie's home state of New Jersey. Lou May, you've been holding so long. Thank you so much. We are delighted to have you on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hi, Lou May.
And that's difficult for people from New Jersey because we like things fast and right away. Okay, Lou May. Okay, don't tell me you hung up. Lou May? Okay, no New Jersey. Okay. Doesn't want them.
Hello?
Oh, hi. There you are.
Hello.
Did you hear that you won the Virtual Patience Award?
Yes. I was hearing you, but you didn't hear me.
Okay.
I had my phone fixed wrong. So anyway, I just wanted to share that I had a situation when my husband was alive. He died 2 years ago, but about 10 years before he passed away, I knew that something was wrong with our marriage, and I was getting really uncomfortable, so finally I took him aside. He would go on trips, and then he would not come back. I mean, he did professional trips. He was into research, medical research and stuff like that, so he would be away. But then instead of coming home right away, he would I expected him at a certain time, and then he would be call and say, "No, I'm going to be here a few more days," or something like that. And then finally, he confessed to me. I was really at the point, really, of asking for a divorce, and he could confess to me that he had been unfaithful, and especially that he had been unfaithful with my sister-in-law, former sister-in-law, now she divorced my brother. But so I really stayed away from that sister-in-law former sister-in-law at that time, and didn't, have much to do with her. And finally, I really realized that I needed to forget and start new with her. And so this past summer, I think it was the year before, I went with my son to see her, and she, the minute we were together, she just said, "I'm sorry," and I said, "I forgive you," and we started new from then. So,
wow,
just a relationship repaired.
Wow, wow,
that's amazing. You have a big heart, Lumay. Big heart. Go ahead, Jerry.
Thanks. Well, I had to pray a lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt, Lumay, and I have to believe that there was probably just so much. We know in the Bible, Simeon said to Mary, "A sword will pierce your heart," and that would be, of course, over the sufferings of her son. And I can only imagine, Lumay, that something like this, learning of this, especially having your husband really just open up and confess it to you, had to be like a sword piercing your heart. And so it must have taken quite a bit of time, and as you said, prayer. But I'm hoping, and you can tell me if I'm wrong about this, but when you had this reconciliation with your former sister-in-law, there must have been, I hope that there was sort of this, as much pain as there had been, I hope and pray that there was joy in that moment, that two people who had been at odds over a very serious issue were able to come together and look each other in the eye and just know that you're fellow human beings, and then share love and joy. Was there a sense of that?
Yes, very much so. A sense of love and joy and peace. And we actually, at the vacation, our family vacation, was at a lake in Canada where she also was vacationing on it's a family sort of vacation place that we've had in the family for years. So that was when she said right away when she saw me, "I'm sorry," and I said, "I forgive you." And from then on, we were doing stuff together as a family and interacting very well. So it was really a joy. I have to say, it was truly a joy to be reconciled.
That is powerful.
Well, it is powerful. Well, like I said, you have a big heart, Lumay. I just wanted to let you know that the Take Two family will pray for your husband who has died, for the repose of his soul. So please know that. There's also a very active prayer wall we have on Jerry and Debbie site. You can go to take2show.com and hit the bright yellow button and add your prayers on there as well. But Lumay, I just wanted to say, here's the interesting thing about, you don't need me to tell you this, but unfortunately, I'm going to say again, I've lived through a similar experience that you had encountered. Your deceased husband and your sister-in-law, that was choices, whatever that they made at weak time, bad choices, and it has nothing to do with you. Nothing. That's the interesting thing about when other people make choices that really put them in a whole different situation. It has nothing to do with the other people. And so many times we take it upon ourselves to think, what went wrong, what happened, what did I do, where did I go wrong? It has nothing to do with us. And I don't know if you needed me to say that. I'm sure you knew that, but it's unfortunate when people make choices, but God gave us the greatest gift of free will, and we all have that choice to make good decisions or bad decisions. And but your big heart, your gigantic forgiving heart, goes a long way. And to me, I just believe in my heart of hearts, you're going to see that in eternity, Lumay. God bless you for your wonderful spirit. And it's nice to know you're from New Jersey. So, Lumay, did you get my funny joke about when my heart starts pounding, my New Jersey slang comes out? I cut everything off or I chop everything. Jerry cracks up when I don't say huge. I say huge.
Huge.
Thanks,
very much.
Bless you, Lumay.
Your show. Thank you. It's a beautiful program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to get to hopefully a few more calls here because the lines remain busy on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, talking about family rifts, overcoming them, dealing with them, being patient, being prayerful. All right, Missy, listening to EWTN Radio in Florida, you are up next on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hello, Missy. Welcome. Thank you so much for calling.
Oh, thank you for taking my call. I was listening off and on because I've been in and out of the car, but I heard Debbie talking about the rift in her family and how painful that is. And, I have two brothers, and the middle one and I are very close in age, and we used to really be very close and do things together. And he made some really awful decisions and wanted to bring them into my home. And like in 1992, I said, you know what, I love you, and I really want always there to be ease between us, but this decision that you've made, I'm very uncomfortable with it. I said, I offered an alternative instead of him bringing that into my home for 3 or 4 days. Why don't you come this one afternoon? We'll have a nice dinner. We'll visit. And they were headed back home the next day. And he said, okay, fine, and hung up the phone and didn't talk to me for years. And then as our mother got more frail, we interacted about that, but that was it. And all these years later, he still will not speak to me.
Missy, can I ask you, have you had a heart-to-heart with him and asked him what's his issue?
Well, I know he was hurt by what I said. That hurt his feelings, and I've apologized to him, and he said, you just need to learn when to keep your mouth shut. And I felt like when I talked to him originally that I was being kind and honest. I didn't accuse him of anything. I just said, this involves me too, and so...
So what? I must be missing something. What exactly did you say that hurt him?
Well, he had been married to a really wonderful woman, and then just out of the blue left her.
Oh, okay.
And within literally that happened the middle of November, and he remarried February the 1st.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
So
and
you expressed
honeymoon in Florida, and he wanted to come spend 3 or 4 days with me.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Said, I love you, and I would never want your wife to feel uncomfortable in my home, but you need to understand that, I'm kind of grieving over this loss too. She was my sister, and he said, okay, fine, and literally didn't speak to me for like 5 years, and at all.
Does he speak to you now?
No.
He doesn't.
Like I said, we talked as we had to interact over our mother, but our mother died last year, and I haven't heard from him since. Would send him a card for his birthday and Christmas and text him periodically, and nothing, not a word.
Jerry?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Well, you know what this... I don't know, Missy. God only knows this. You probably don't even know it. Maybe you do. I don't know. But for him to just up and suddenly divorce his wife, whom you said was just a beautiful woman, and then within, 3 or 4 months be married again, I hate to say it, but the first thing that comes to my mind is I hope and pray that there wasn't something already going on between him and this other woman. It just seems rather abrupt, the divorce and the remarriage
exactly.
Go ahead.
I had spoken to a friend of his who said he was there when my brother met this woman, which was after he left his wife, but very shortly after. So,
right. Missy, I just
trust his friend. So,
Missy, I just want to say something that I just want to reiterate what I said at the beginning. We can sometimes situations are so beyond us because people are struggling within their souls. And they've made choices in their life that they're uncomfortable with. They don't sleep well at night. It bothers them. And they would like validation. But unfortunately, us as Catholic Christians, we're called to speak the truth. So we can't always validate just because we love somebody. And it's unfortunate. Your brother, to me, seems like he's struggling internally. And the best thing at that point we can do is pray and surround him with he definitely has his guardian angel, but he may not be aware of it. So we ask this guardian angel to be active in his life, and we surround him with the intercession of the saints, and we ask the Blessed Mother to guide him and to really let him see the light. Because my feeling is that when people really when they reconcile within themselves, Missy, and they realize that the truth is the truth, and I just have a feeling that someday your brother will just come to you and say, Missy, you spoke a hard truth. I didn't want to hear it at the time, but you were right. So sometimes we have to just rely on prayer. We just have to, because it's out of our control. I mean, my heart breaks for you that you don't have that close relationship anymore. I can relate. I'll be your sister, Missy. I can't be a brother, but I could be your sister. Go ahead, Jerry.
No, I think you've put it very, very well there, and we're running short on time here. Missy, I don't know if you had any other thoughts that you wanted to share, or just kind of sum up where you are with this right now, just obviously being patient and submitting it all to the Lord for His grace to be working.
Absolutely. We pray for him every night, because even if he never speaks to me again, I just pray for his soul.
Right.
He knows you love him, Missy. He knows that. And you know what, Missy? You know what else you can do? You can pray to your guardian angel to tell his guardian angel how much you love him. And believe me, his guardian angel will. Go ahead.
That's the first time I've heard that, was that you asked your guardian angel to go talk to somebody else's guardian angel. I never even thought about that.
Okay, so real quickly, read Padre Pio. Yeah, Missy, read about Padre Pio. Look up St. Padre Pio. He used to do that all the time. He used to send his guardian angels out to talk to other guardian angels all the time. Go ahead and read all about it. I studied angels for many years, Missy. We'll talk more about it, but look that up and then let us know what you think about it.
All right, thanks very much.
All right, thank you, Missy, for calling Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Boy, Deb, another
great show.
Yeah, another. I just want to, again, we say this often to you who listen to this program and to really all of EWTN radio. You're so sincere. You're searching. You're trying so hard to love God and to be the very best version of yourself that you can be, and that comes through, Debbie, on this show with our listeners all the time. Doesn't matter what situations they're going through, sometimes very, very difficult and even very painful situations. I come away from this show every day so blessed, and sometimes I think my own little inconveniences are all these big mountain-like problems, but we're all together in this, and we just keep our listeners lifted up in prayer.
Yep, we lock arms together and do this together on Take Two. Tomorrow's about back to school. It can be a stressful time. Maybe you've started school already, but back to school can be a great time for spiritual growth, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow. I'm excited on Take Two. Jerry?
That's right. And don't forget, we heard a lot of very important prayer intentions today. Anytime you want, you can go to the prayer wall at our website, Jerry and Debbie website. Go to the official show site. It's Take Two, the number 2, take2show.com. Click on the big yellow J&D logo. You can't miss it. And post your prayer intentions there. And Debbie, until tomorrow,
have a beautiful and blessed day. See you real soon.